This is a reminder. Take it off your body again. This is a reminder. Take it off your body again.
Good morning, everybody. Hi. Hey. Hello. How you doing? I'm awake. I'm guessing you clicked on this video. So, welcome to Periwinkle Palace Arts, my little magical place on the internet. I'm Princess Bun Bun, and I'm here with my bunnies to do art with you and chat. Do you want to meet the bunnies for today? They want to say hi. Say good morning to Maya. She's my fibromyalgia bunny, and she's the sweetest thing ever. And she goes everywhere with me, and she comes to the desk every day. Yep, we're gonna color later, but first we have to do the blinging. She's taking up the spot over here for now. And this is Fystycuffs. Like, when you get into a fight with somebody and you have fisticuffs, some people say, we got into a fisticuffs. That's his name. He is part of the 4 fear response bunnies, and he's the fight response. Can you tell? He's always ready to go. And he says hello like this. Let's see if I can do it this morning. He says hello like this. But once he gets his energies out, he's fine. You know, when you have a panic attack or you have anxiety or you just get startled, sometimes your first instinct is to like go, right? But if you like take that energy out on something, you could get rid of it a little faster. So we do punch greetings. Here, calm down and sit with Maya. Good guy. All right, this morning we are... Oh, first, what do we need? We need things to do art. We need cute hair and coffee. Do you have your coffee? No? What are you doing? Go get your coffee. You could pause me. Pause me. Go get your coffee. I'll still be here. Okay, so had to change a couple of things up this morning. I lifted my chair up. I don't know how it's gonna work out because it's really high and it kind of runs into things. But I lifted my chair up all the way because my back has been hurting from bending the way I was. I'm also lowering my arms a little bit because I've been punching my shoulders up, and that's not good. It's not good for posture. It's also not good for anxiety. Okay, that's right. There we go. So yeah, last night I did the bonus because I just wanted to do more. um, I did a bonus stream, and we cut out this whole section here. There's a whole lot of the stars on this, so we're gonna start on that. I've already got them poured out here. Alright, if you want to know what it is that's got me singing, bouncing around, dancing, wiggling, whatever, it's right there on the screen. So I don't get copyrighted, I can hear my music, and you can see what I'm listening to. Right now I've got it on DJ mode. Sometimes that works out good, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, if you did not hear the announcement yesterday, we got some news this weekend that was a surprise. My oldest is having a baby. Well, he's not having it. His girl is. She's family too. Like, we've known her for a long, long, long time. I think we met her through her little sister when my youngest was in school with them. So, all right, let's get to this. We're very excited. It's gonna be a grandbaby. So I don't set my hand on the sticky parts of this, I'm just gonna slide this little piece over here. I've already done all the stars up to here. I did those last night. I bet there's a whole bunch of new baby stuff out in the world that I don't know anything about. Like baby products. This is going to be an interesting process. Because, you know, you don't keep up with baby stuff when your babies grow out of it. My youngest is 19, so it's been a while. I decided to do this section right here without the line guides because I just wanted to, that's why. It's a good enough reason, I think. I have to adjust how I'm sitting, you know. This is going to help me be able to see over there too, because I couldn't see anything. Really bright in my face. That's a little better. So, in the middle of the week, I'm a person that doesn't really see the week as over. I feel like it's just starting. Because, like, internally, I start my days on Monday, my week on Monday. So, I know a lot of people see the week as, like, half over, or some people... I don't know, what do you? How do you see it? Are you a week half over on Wednesday person, or are you a week not even gotten started yet? Let me know. You can put it in the comments or in the chat. Oh, I'm wearing lipstick today. It looks a little weird, but I think it's just because yellow lipstick is weird. It's something I try to do on the daily is wear lipstick, but I'm still getting back into my routines and such after having been sick for months and stuck in bed. I feel like putting on lipstick is kind of like just a simple thing that it's kind of like a self-care thing. I feel a little bit more put together when I put on lipstick and like I'm looking cute. Is there something you do like that that makes you just feel like that little extra bit better? I have a lot of things like that. Like getting out of bed, putting on actual clothes instead of just going around in my pajamas all day, making it to my studio. I'm usually pretty successful at that these days, but for several months at the beginning of this year, I was super sick. I was going through some pretty severe withdrawals from medications that uh, we couldn't get because the pharmacy had none. There's certain kinds of medications that it's pretty hard for the pharmacy to keep in stock, and the way they fill those prescriptions is extremely strange. It's not on a first. I mean, basically, they don't get enough of the medication, and it's not enough to fill everybody that's going to come in for that medication each month. They don't get extras, and they fill those prescriptions on a first come, first served basis. It's a little bit crazy. Anyway, they didn't have them, and I've been through this a bunch of times. My husband will go to like every pharmacy within 50 miles trying to find it, and I just have to wait, usually days, but sometimes it's like a week or two. And because it happens so much, and I've gone into physical and mental withdrawal from those medications so much. When it happened in, I think it was October or November, I decided that not all of my medication, but for certain medications, if I had to go through withdrawals for more than a week, that because the first week is the hardest part for me. Yeah, I was like, if I have to go through it for a week before I can get the medication, I'm not going back on it. And I didn't. Two of my medications I went off of completely, and one I ended up reducing the amount that I take significantly. I went from taking 10 milligram tablets to taking 2.5 milligram tablets, or 5, but we break them in half. And I'm still dealing with withdrawal symptoms. I'm also having to learn how to live without those medications. One of them was for my anxiety and panic disorder. I pretty much have anxiety that runs at a low humming level all day, all night, 24/7. And then sometimes it kicks up, which means I can't really, it gets to a point where I can't hide that I have the anxiety. And then there's other times where it goes into a full blown panic attack. I've been on that medication for over a decade. All all three of the medications I'm talking about, I've been on for over a decade. Take them religiously, very prescriptive. I don't ever take more than I'm prescribed, and I don't ever take them early or anything like that. But there's a lot of stigma associated with these certain medications. Anyway, I'm learning how to use the skills that I've developed over the past decade, because the medication itself did not reduce the anxiety completely. Um, so, I learned skills and techniques and stuff like that. And now I'm learning to use those skills without that medication. And I'm not going to lie, it's hard. The another thing that's hard about it is knowing that because I'm not taking the medication, I don't have it to help me. And so I have to do it by myself. And I constantly have fear about that. So there's a lot of things that increase my anxiety. And one of them is not having medication for my anxiety. Because I don't react to anxiety, and I don't react in panic attacks like a person who's terrified. I tend to react with hypervigilance, with irritation. A lot of my fear comes out as anger. It seems like I'm angry. I try to fix everything. I go into pretty extreme OCD behaviors. And it's just not pleasant for me or anyone around me. There's a lot of medications out there that aren't meant to be a permanent thing. But I took a fairly low dose of that medication, and I took it at a steady number of milligrams and everything for over a decade. And I was good, yo. I was so, between my strategies and my techniques and my life hacks, having the medication, my anxiety was almost gone. Excuse me. I had a coffee ground in my mouth. But the withdrawals from that medication are pretty much pure HE double hockey sticks. Like, I mean, horrible. And I had been through it with that particular medication, I want to say 7 or 8 times within the past 2 years. This didn't used to be a problem. It's a federal regulations kind of thing, and a problem with the drug manufacturers. It's everybody's fault. So, like I said, I don't have that medication anymore. I went off of it cold turkey, and that's one of the things that put me in bed for several months. I also had the other 2 medications to deal with. I'm still not settled on. I did start a new medication for a different symptom. So I went off of one and I went on to a different kind. Which, to be honest, there's no guarantee the pharmacy will have that one either, because it took like a freaking month for me to get that one. I wouldn't say I'm exaggerating about that, but I'm pretty sure I'm close. My husband actually handles all of that stuff for me, so I don't know exact dates. Even if I handled it, I wouldn't know exact dates. I take so many medications, I don't have any idea how he keeps it straight. All that said, to say, I have a high level of anxiety this morning for some reason. This is very helpful to my anxiety. The other side of that is that I have intentionally, over the past, look, let's say till like 2014, at least, I have actively worked on developing strategies and tools to help manage my anxiety and panic attacks. I'd be happy to share those with you if y'all are interested. I might share them with you whether you're interested or not. One of the things that I do to manage all of my symptoms is that I always play music. Always. It drives me a little bit crazy that I have to have my music in my ear while I'm streaming, but copyright is copyright, you know? Can't do anything about that. My hands are really shaky this morning, so this is going kind of slow. Get some wax on my pen. It's almost time to throw that wax away. Again, if you have shaky hands, it's still not a problem. You can do this craft. It just takes a little bit extra moving them around, that's all. I've never been a person, even from my earliest age, who believed that medication was a magic fix-all for things. Um, I think mostly because my mom didn't take us to the doctor unless it was absolutely necessary. So there's that. And also, I mean, I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was like 7 years old. Uh, they put me on Ritalin, and I was on it for about 2 weeks before my mom was like, nope. And I'm slightly grateful and slightly not grateful for that because, so basically, I grew up at that point um, with no medication or accommodations for my ADHD. This is in the 80s and 90s, so my mom believed in something different called behavioral management, which meant do what you're supposed to do or you're going to get your butts beat or whatever. My mom was inventive with the punishments. We'll not get into that today. I'm not sure if we'll ever get into that on this channel. I don't know. People tell me all the time, yo, your story is so informative or inspirational. You should share your story. You should write a book. Like, I don't know though. When I'm one on one with people, which isn't very often, well, I should say, unless you count my children, their significant others, my husband, my boyfriend, my one friend, and my dogs, I don't interact with people unless I have to. But, for the most part, my husband does all of that interacting for me. It's not that I can't, it just makes it easier for everybody. I'm forgetful. But, yeah, I went my whole life without medicine for ADHD. I struggled. I didn't know why. Until, honestly, until I had children who had ADHD. Um, my doctors have said it's pretty certain that I'm on the spectrum. Uh, I was never diagnosed as a kid. That wasn't really a thing. I remember that my doctors and my teachers talked a lot about, um, you know, accommodations, which I thought was just being in special ed. I didn't want to do that. Or medication. So I figured my mom had it right, you know? Don't need to medicate this, and you just need to learn how to do things in a normal way. I think that's called ableism. I'll have to ask my kids. Anyway, it was figure out how to survive time for my life. So I was actually diagnosed again when I was in my late 30s. Still didn't go on medication for it. I do take ADHD medication, but I didn't go on ADHD medication for my ADHD. It helps, but that's not why I went on it. I ended up on the ADHD medication because I have narcolepsy. So I have a lot of disorders that they can be diagnosed by themselves, right? Like you don't necessarily have to have this disorder to have this disorder, and they can be diagnosed by themselves. However, there are also things that can be diagnosed as a cluster of symptoms that fall under a different diagnosis. So I have a lot of diagnoses, but really those diagnoses are symptoms of this, this, and this. So I've been diagnosed with the high level stuff. I've also been diagnosed with the like symptomatic stuff. And most of the symptomatic stuff came as a diagnosis prior to the overall diagnosis. Um, so yeah, I have narcolepsy. And my doctor put me on a fairly common ADHD medication for it. I took that medication also for well over a decade. And same thing happened with it. I kept not being able to get it from the pharmacy and going into withdrawals. And withdrawals from a narcolepsy type medication is also you sleep all the time. So I would go through periods where all I could do was sleep. And when I was awake, I was, withdrawing. So same thing happened around the same time, October or November. And I wasn't able to get it for more than a week. And I was like, that's it. So after that point, I started just sleeping all the time. It's not like just falling asleep though. It's like I can be walking across the floor and all of a sudden I fall asleep walking. And it feels more like losing consciousness, but you're not losing consciousness. Your brain has decided to switch to I'm asleep, and I just go down on the floor. So for a while, I was scared to even get out of bed to walk in here, um, and even if I got in here, I'm passing out, right? And the residual sleepiness, not the dropout sleep, but the residual sleepiness, it's honestly unbearable. Um, Forcing myself to stay awake was super hard. And one of the reasons that I get really tired around lunch is because the medicine that I'm on now, which took months for us to find at a pharmacy for me to even try it, the medicine that I'm on now runs out about 10:30 or so. I take it at 5 o'clock a.m. and it runs out about 10:30, 11. So as soon as I go to lunch, I start feeling miserable. And that's why in the afternoon sessions, I tend right now to be really, pumped up because I kind of like, I have to pump myself up. I drink one energy drink, a coffee drink. I'm only allowed to have one a day. I also have diabetes. And it's really hard to control it. But I drink a coffee drink in the afternoon, and that amps me up a little. There's a few other things that I do, including changing my playlist and turning the music up way loud in my ear. And whatever I can do to make myself feel peppy so that I can do an afternoon stream with you guys. I'm hoping that when I go back to my next doctor appointment, which should be soon, that I'm going to ask the doctor if there's an extended release version of this medicine that I'm on now, or if I can take it twice a day or something. I hate sleeping throughout the day because here's the thing, like I have a very strict bedtime and wake up time. So it's not like I'll sleep during the day and then I get to stay up at night. No, I still pass out at 10:30. I could be sitting at a restaurant and there I go. And my body wakes up at 5 o'clock, 5 a.m. on the dot. Okay, sometimes it's 5:07. You get my point. So I take that medicine to keep me awake at 5 o'clock in the morning. And it still takes me until like 7 or 8 o'clock to fully wake up. It takes that long anyway for my body to function. So but this medication that I'm on now absolutely does not work as well as the medication I was on for more than a decade. And I mean, I had that dosing and everything down to a T. For example, everybody calls it my noon meds, but I don't take my noon meds at noon. I take them at 11:20 a.m. 11:20 precisely. I also don't take my afternoon meds at the afternoon. I take them at 2:15 p.m. precisely. So, and the reason for that is because the anxiety medication that I'm talking about, the pain medication I'm talking about, as well as the keep me awake narcolepsy medication that I'm talking about, we would dose them out throughout the day so that I'm not taking the whole dose at once. And those were the precise times after like 3 months of tracking and data collection that we figured out that I needed to take them in order to properly control the symptoms. And I still take them on that schedule, even though the meds changed. Part of the reason for that is that I have a particular quirk to my anxiety. There are specific times a day that I have anxiety. It's time related. Those are times when it just kicks up really bad. That has a lot to do with the way I was raised, I guess, and the times that people come from school and work, things like that. So I take my anxiety medication at those precise times, and Lord, it helped so much. If my children were minors, I would be scrambling to find the medication for my anxiety, because there were times without it that I kind of came down really hard on my kids, or I would nearly start a fight with my husband, like pretty much would start like, just because I had anxiety and I couldn't figure out how I was feeling. I felt mad. So obviously he did something wrong, right? I'm being sarcastic about that, but that's what it was. I just didn't know. I didn't know that for so long. But again, in saying that, like I wouldn't want to be off of the medication at all if my children were still young, because they needed me to be stable, and I'm really not without it. I'm really not. But um, I don't run my kids' lives anymore. They're adults. They handle their own stuff, and unless they need me, I stay out of it. Uh, if they live here or they don't live here, it doesn't matter. They run their own life. Their household rules if they live here. But they know those rules, and my kids are really respectful. Like, they don't act like children anymore. So, not having the responsibility of handling everything for them, and being in a position where I'm more like a mentor and a guide and a comfort, it takes a lot of the stress out of interacting with them, I guess. And sometimes when it gets to me, I'm just like, it's not your life. It's not your responsibility. Let your children deal. That helps my anxiety a little bit around the things I need to get done, the things I have to do, I'm less hyper vigilant over their safety and all of that, because they're adults. They've got it, mostly. I never go a day, even when I'm on medication, I never go a day without feeling anxiety. It's always there. It's like my constant friend. Sometimes I even sing songs to my anxiety. When I'm feeling anxiety, I'll just make up silly songs and just like be like, this is my morning anxiety song. It makes me feel like everything's going wrong. Things like that. It's silly. Um, I won't, I can't keep okay without that medication, but I'm surviving. I'm surviving it. It really amps up other things like the agoraphobia. It amps that up. Any social interaction. Sometimes even with my kids. Sometimes even with my husband or my boyfriend. It just anxiety comes out full force, and I'm like, oh my god. So I made a choice to either be in withdrawal most every month for a couple of days at least, or to just not take it and try to deal without it. Talked to my doctor, and he said if you can do it without it, give it a shot. And I can't honestly say that I'm doing it without it, but I'm surviving. I would love to be doing more than surviving, right? I guess the point of all that is that managing the anxiety and panic disorder without medication. And I have thankfully, I have a lot of tools in my emotional and mental toolbox to help me do that effectively most of the time. So I might make a list, I guess, of the things that I use for anxiety, and we could have a chat about that one day. I would be happy to share that with anybody. And to say that I am having high levels of anxiety this morning, which is why Fystycuffs is out here with me. And listening to music helps me with anxiety. Making sure I take a few deep breaths every so often, because I have a tendency to hold my breath when I have anxiety, and I will hold my breath for a really long time. I also try to wear my shoulders as earrings. And my husband will say, your shoulders don't go on your ears, if he sees me doing it. He also made me this little thing. It says, drop your shoulders, unclench your jaw, take a deep breath, close your eyes, relax your hands, breathe out slow, take a moment, in rainbow colors. He didn't make it. He found it on the internet and he printed it out for me. And I put it in a frame and it's right there where I can see it. This is very, very helpful when I have anxiety. So is coloring spirals. So is coloring in general. But I still have anxiety, even when I'm doing these things. I try to really keep an eye on my posture. I eat gummies, like stress relief gummies, and have some gummies that are helpful focus. I eat gummies all day. Yes, I call them vitamins. I watch documentaries to help with my anxiety. No, I don't know what helps, but I do. And yes, I do all these things at once. The more anxious I am, the more I end up doing at one time. Streaming actually helps me to focus on my it helps me to focus for a little while on one type of thing. Though if you've watched any of my live stream videos, you'll see that sometimes in the middle of what we're doing, I change what I'm doing to a whole different kind of project. Oh, good morning, Stretchy. Get back to a better time. Get back to Yeah, I managed most of my life having anxiety and panic disorder without medication. But the thing is, I didn't know that I had anxiety and panic disorder. When I was diagnosed in my 30s, 30s? Yeah, ish. I I decided to, and it can be managed without it, but it makes life so much easier to have the medication. It's like, I know people always say, oh, I don't want them to use this drug as a crutch, but you know what? It is a crutch. Your mental health is affecting your life. Your mental health is hard to learn to deal with when you're constantly having the symptoms. So going on medication can be temporary if you can take the medication and use it in such a way that it allows you to learn the skills you need, and then you could go off of it. If sometimes that's possible, sometimes it's not. For me, even through learning the skills, it was possible, but my life is so much fuller and richer when I don't have to focus so much time and energy on managing it. Because with greatly reduced symptoms, it's easier to implement the strategies. Look, if you are mentally in need of a medication, then it's no different than having an injured leg and needing an actual crutch. It's it's necessity. It's not, you're not using it as a crutch. I mean, it is a crutch. That's what it's supposed to do. If you have a paralyzed foot, what are you going to do? If your foot is paralyzed, well, that's a permanent injury type thing, and you're going to need that crutch or whatever disability aid you need to use. You're going to need that for your whole life. The paralysis of your foot is likely to not just go away. So you could say, yes, I'm using medication as a crutch, just as if I would use a crutch if I had an injury or if I need the extra support. That's what it is. You need the extra support. And I need the extra support. But I can't reliably get the extra support. So it's like one day you're walking along and say you have to renew the lease on your crutch every month. And 1 month it just randomly doesn't renew for some reason and it disappears. The crutch just disappears. It gets repoed. I'm trying to make a good analogy here. Then you spend however long until you can renew your lease on your crutch without it. Why is it trying to end? I did not ask to end my stream. I don't know. Sorry, I think it's about to kick the internet. I might have just got kicked off the internet. Let me see. Oh my goodness, y'all. I don't know what's going on, you guys. But if it kicked me out, come right back. Yeah. Things are just looking really slow. Okay, saying I'm not kicked off. So, we shall see, guys. Okay. I don't know what's happening. I need to check with my husband about the internet speed, I guess. We have the fastest they can provide. I think I might need to have him prioritize my laptop on the internet, on the network, like on the router. We used almost a whole jar of these with the stars. I guess my point is that nobody should be ashamed for the medication that they need to take. Even if somebody says it's a crutch, well, yeah, it might be, but maybe you need that crutch. Nobody should be considered weak because they take a medication. And nobody should have to go through withdrawals every month or so when they run out of their medication, and it can't be gotten from the pharmacy. However, ways that anxiety can be managed without medication. It's just very, very hard to learn things and implement them, practice them, because you have to practice it, which means you have to have an incident and you have to remember, oh, I've got this tool in my toolbox, and that helps, and then use it effectively. So it takes a few times at least to practice the practice, and it's hard to learn it without medication. But I took the medication for a long time, and I worked really hard on learning the techniques to even reduce my symptoms even further while I was on medication. So while it's hard, it's not impossible. It's frustrating, and sometimes I even cry over it because it shouldn't be this way. Like, I shouldn't have to not take medication that I need because because I can't get it. But that's where I'm at right now. And I know I'm not the only one who can't get their medications. It's not about cost on this particular one, because it we bought in generic, and that's what I took. So my insurance covered that one. I think there was a small copay, but there's a lot of people who can't get their medication because they can't afford it, and I've been there. But in this situation, it's purely because the pharmacy doesn't get enough of the medication, the manufacturer or the distributor, to fill the medication for all of the people who take that medication in their area. So in this case, I guess it's not the fault of the doctor. It's not the fault of the insurance. That is a half drill. It's not even just a small one. It's like a half one. See if I can show you this. This is what we call trash drills. I'll show you a regular one on my finger too. So this is a regular one. It's a trash drill. Where'd mine go? There it is. It's a trash drill too. Okay. We've used almost an entire jar of these. That's a lot. So that's a lot that we've used. But we're not done with this section. The next one is that weird one that we have that Nobody in this house can figure out what it's called. We got a few down here. Oops. Right edge in the bottom, so there's nothing to feed. What does anybody want to go? Let me ask you. Where does everybody go when they go? Where does everybody go when they go? And my chair is a lot more comfortable having raised it up like this. I'm probably going to hit my knees on the bottom of this drawer at some point, and it's going to hurt really bad. But I'll get used to it. I'm out of coffee, I think. I have depresso. Nobody here but me. I'll have to deal until I can't deal anymore. And if I need to not deal anymore, I'll just throw up that little be right back screen and go get some coffee. It'll take me like 3 minutes. Yeah, these ones right here are very out of line. But it's okay. We'll straighten them up later. Oh, my little disclaimer, let me put that out there. I'm not a professional. This is not a class. I'm not teaching you anything. This is not a tutorial. You might learn something here. You might. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to teach or to preach. I'm here because I do art every day. And I'd like to have some conversations while I do my art. And whatever else happens on this channel, that's what we do. Art and chat. Ow, I'm itchy. Here we have a bunch more of these over here. I'm going to cover this up so my hand doesn't stick to it. Not so much because it'll mess up the adhesive, but more because I just don't like the way my hand feels when it sticks. Oh yeah, I could see over there much better now. I can feel your love picking me up from the underground. I can reach your eyes. I just bite down my eyes. I can feel your love picking me up from the underground. I can feel your love just bite down my eyes. Maybe if I sit with my legs on the leg rest, the ergonomics of my chair will actually be effective. I always forget that I have it down there. That's all of this one. That's a little piece of the acrylic. It's not a trash drill, it's just trash. It's just trash. You don't see any of these or any of those. No. You got one of these. You know, I missed one of those little arrows over in the corner. Some of these percent signs. I don't have coffee, so. We might finish this before lunch, this section. I do need to stop at some point today or tomorrow and do my overlays and do a design. So we might do that this afternoon. It really needs to get done, or my overlays will get messed up and I won't be able to fix them. I'll have to completely redo them, and I don't want to redo them. It's just extra effort and I don't want to do it. So I don't know if we're going to be coloring this afternoon or if we're going to be doing nails. Or we might even do both, y'all. I don't even know. We have a good bit of W's in there. Okay. You can't wake up, this is not time yet, buddy. Oh, he's like, I'm going back to my bed then. Uh-oh. You got an E right there. Just one. Oops, just flew. Why? Why? Because that's the letter that's on here. Okay. There's a hair on here, and it wasn't mine. Is my love your drug? Your drug? I see some 2s over here, but also we need the plus signs.